Hey everyone, welcome back to The Script Guy. Today we are recapping the psychological horror movie Eat, Pray, Love. Remember that girl? She doesn't exist anymore. It's all thanks to these capsules. No matter what I eat, the fat just melts away. Want to try?
Hannah is a medical student who has been trying to lose weight for a long time, but the scale shows the exact same number over and over again. At the gym, she notices a fit girl named Alani.
Spotting Hannah, Alani invites her to join a 12-week weight loss challenge. Later at the university, Hannah's anatomy class is given the corpse of a very obese woman for dissection. The students immediately nickname her Bertha. However, Hannah notices a strange detail. The deceased woman has the exact same nail polish as her. As soon as she gets home, Hannah wipes her own nail polish off. When she goes out to throw away some donuts, the trash chute suddenly feels almost bottomless to her. That evening, Hannah goes to a bar with friends to celebrate a birthday and runs into Melissa, an old acquaintance who has recently transformed beyond recognition. Melissa immediately reveals her secret. There are expensive, unofficial pills called Gray that allow you to eat whatever you want and still lose weight. To spark Hannah's interest, Melissa gives her 2 sample pills. That night, Hannah gets drunk and overeats. The next morning, she's awakened by a strange whistling sound, as if someone is calling her from afar. When she steps on the scale, she realizes that despite the heavy night of partying, her weight has actually decreased. Later, Hannah visits her parents and receives a low-calorie birthday cake from her mother. The next day, Hannah decides to test the remaining pill in the lab and gets a terrifying result. High sodium, high potassium, and essentially, human ash. Meanwhile, the anatomy class continues working on Bertha's body. The students extract one of her ribs. Once everyone leaves, Hannah pulls the bone out of the trash, burns it to ash, puts the powder into empty capsules, and takes one herself. Almost instantly, her stomach growls, and the empty scale suddenly starts displaying a weight, even though no one is standing on it. From that moment on, Hannah enters a new routine. By day, she works out, takes her homemade capsules, and sheds weight fast. By night, she ravenously eats everything in sight, yet the weight keeps dropping. Alani notices her incredible progress, takes a picture with her, and posts it on social media as living proof of the challenge's success. However, Hannah starts seeing reflections of Bertha watching her in convex surfaces, like the kettle, spoons, and metallic objects. Still, the student keeps stealing Bertha's bones, burning them, and taking them as capsules. Her night binges become worse, but she keeps getting thinner. When her weight drops to her dream goal of 59 kilograms, Alani anxiously asks if Hannah is using some dangerous shortcut. Hannah denies everything, claiming that the 12-week challenge is just working really well. But things spiral out of control. Bertha no longer just flashes in reflections. She begins physically appearing, crushing Hannah with her weight and suffocating her. Hannah is turning into a vessel for someone else's hunger. One day, trying to resist sweets, she turns away from a chocolate bar, but it seems to move toward her on its own, followed by another and then the whole bag. It becomes clear she isn't eating because she wants to, but because something inside her demands it. In class, it is revealed that Bertha had liver cancer, which is likely what killed her. Her real name was Grace. Meanwhile, Alani and Hannah start a romantic relationship, which prompts Hannah to try and stop. She dumps the remaining ash into a container, throws away all the junk food, and tries to return to a normal diet. But almost immediately, the fridge door opens by itself. Her stomach growls, and she sees Bertha's reflection right behind her in a spoon. Hannah locks herself in her room to sleep, but in the morning, she realizes that she completely cleared out the fridge in her sleep. Hannah meets up with Melissa and tells her that the pills were made of human ash. Melissa confesses that she also had nightmares and heard the same night whistling, but it all stopped once she ran out of Gray. For Hannah, however, it doesn't stop. A medical exam reveals a small, benign tumor in her pancreas. The doctors assure her it doesn't explain her nighttime blackouts. Hannah's condition worsens. She falls asleep over her notes and finds "Don't sleep" written in her notebook.
In the next anatomy class, Bertha's organs start looking like a cake to her. Her friend Josie, whom Hannah told about the homemade pills, tries to stop her, saying that no number on the scale will make her happy.
But Hannah is already too deep in the nightmare. She stays over at Alani's place, falls asleep, and wakes up in the kitchen, surrounded by an entirely looted fridge. Terrified, Hannah runs home. Sensing Bertha's approach, she frantically starts shoving food down her throat, not for herself, but to feed the entity inside. She sets up a camera in her room to record the night. In the morning, the footage shows her getting up in her sleep, walking to the kitchen, and eating everything, even a jar of body butter. Hannah tries to analyze the situation scientifically. She shows Josie the spoons and explains that Bertha appears in reflections whenever her glucose levels drop below 6 millimoles. Josie doesn't believe it at first, but as soon as Hannah's sugar drops, objects around them begin to move on their own. Hannah steals the professor's keys, gets Bertha's file, and finds her real name. She and Josie visit Grace's sister, who reveals that Grace's tumor also started as a tiny dot in her pancreas, the exact same spot as Hannah's. Hannah concludes that her connection to the dead woman is held together not just by the ash, but by the tumor. To break the bond, she needs to return everything she took from Bertha. Hannah rushes home for the container of ash, but her mother had already thrown it out during cleaning, mistaking it for trash. Hannah digs the container out of the dumpster, and at that moment, Bertha finally breaks into reality. She bursts into the apartment, throws Hannah's mother to the floor, tosses things around, and pins Hannah down. Desperate to escape, Hannah drinks a cleaning solution, forces the heavy corpse off her, and flees. She steals a pass to the medical lab and takes Josie's phone so she can't call for help. Hannah admits she is going to cut herself open to remove the tumor, convinced it's how Bertha is holding on to her body. To numb the pain, she inhales a drug and intentionally lowers her blood sugar. Her reality shatters completely. She hallucinates being trapped inside a plastic body bag among mountains of her own trash, everything she discarded on her path to her new self. Yet through the delirium, she grabs a scalpel and begins the surgery. Bertha appears again, looming over her, but at the last second, Hannah successfully cuts out the tumor. Instantly, Bertha vanishes, and Josie rushes in to save Hannah. In the end, the corpse is finally cremated. Hannah repaints her nails to the original color, seemingly letting go of her fears. She visits Alani with grocery bags to replace everything she ate. Alani just wants to understand what was happening to her. Hannah doesn't answer, but passionately embraces her friend. However, as she comes to her senses, she realizes it wasn't passion. It was just another surge of hunger. The horror didn't end with a cure. It simply took on a new form. And that's how the story ends. What do you think about it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this recap. Hope to see you soon. Bye.